Welcome back to my G1 Retro Reviews. Today, we're taking a look at the original Transformers series episode, The Immobilizer. In this story-packed episode, Wheeljack's latest invention, the Immobilizer, is targeted by the Decepticons. Ironhide briefly retires from the Autobot ranks, and we meet Carly, the tech genius girl who would eventually become Spike's girlfriend, wife, and eventually mother of Daniel. This episode begins with Wheeljack showing off his latest invention.
What does it instantly immobilize?
What? That's not Cliff's voice. That sounds more like Gears. Ah, I see. I guess they must have mixed them up somehow, since they are both standing right next to each other, and they are both red mini-bots. Unfortunately, Ironhide accidentally damages part of Wheeljack's invention, who asks Bumblebee and Spike to go into town and pick up a replacement part. Which is where we meet Carly.
I saw you come in with that cute Autobot. Could you introduce me to him?
You want to meet him? Bumblebee, this is, somebody named...
Carly! It's a pleasure to meet you, Bumblebee.
Seriously, it's funny that Carly seems to be more interested in Bumblebee in this first episode than Spike. I'm sure if Tumblr existed back in the 80s, there'd be lots of posts about Carly and Bumblebee. In fact, there was even a cut line here that seems to further cement that Carly might really like Bumblebee.
Oh, I hope to see you again, Carly.
You will, and sooner than you think.
Dang girl, she's going after that bee. So after getting the part back to Wheeljack, it's finally time to test his invention. But after Spike accidentally steps on the controller, Wheeljack himself is immobilized.
He's frozen solid, and we don't know how to reverse the effect.
Why is your first instinct to grab his face and head, Ratchet? Why wouldn't you start with his arm or something? The Decepticons attack and steal the Immobilizer.
You're losing your warriors, Megatron.
Warriors are expendable. The most important thing is that I get what I deserve.
Megatron, your troops are right behind you. I wonder how they feel hearing that you say that they're expendable. Because he was distracted by Carly, Ironhide blames himself for the Decepticons stealing the Immobilizer, and decides to retire from active duty.
Very well, if you feel that strongly about it. But we shall miss you, Ironhide, old friend. Miss you already.
He then gives Carly a tour of the base.
But until the Decepticons change or we pacify them once and for all...
Someone should pacify those Decepticons and their underwater headquarters.
For one, I wonder what exactly they mean by pacify. Do they mean destroy the Decepticons? Or to somehow convince them to give up their evil ways? If the latter, maybe they should look into my attitude adjusters idea from a couple episodes ago. Also, how does Carly know about the Decepticons' underwater base? How much of the Transformers is public knowledge in this universe? Speaking of which, Carly steals some type of bomb from the Autobots' armory and dives down to the Decepticons' base to plant it. But she is captured by Laserbeak. I found it funny when you see Ironhide riding inside of Skyfire, and you just see his face in the little window. It's like he has a window seat on an airplane. Carly's plan backfires as the bomb that she planted earlier goes off and causes her jail cell to flood.
This can be most interesting. The show is over. Back to work.
You're really sick, you know that, Megatron? Watching your hostage drown for your own amusement? Luckily, Ironhide saves her just in time. When Ironhide gets immobilized, this kind of reminds me of Ironhide from Transformers Animated and his Colossus from the X-Men style power. In this episode, we once again see Brawn use his drill for tunneling through the Earth, which allows Carly to sneak in and reverse the Immobilizer's effects, returning the frozen Autobots to normal, upon which Ironhide destroys the Immobilizer and the Decepticons flee. And the episode ends with Spike finally asking Carly out on a date. And I gotta say, it's pretty cute seeing the two of them drive off during the sunset, with his father Sparkplug and the Autobots looking on proudly. Little do they know that this is the beginning of a family. This was an okay episode of G1. The Immobilizer itself will be memorable enough that it actually got included as an accessory for Masterpiece Exhaust and the more animation-accurate MP20 Plus Wheeljack. The story itself is fine, a little cheesy, but the thing that really hurts this episode is the animation. Especially the first half, or even 2/3 of the episode, the animation is really terrible. The proportions and angles seem totally wrong. Everyone just looks awful. One of the notably bad scenes is when all the Autobots are transforming into their vehicle modes. They're so boxy that they look like they're made out of paper. Or look at when Optimus is telling Ironhide to stand guard. Watch the other Autobots drive past. They look terrible. You can barely tell who some of them are supposed to be. I mean, who is that? Is that supposed to be Gears? Or maybe it's a brief cartoon appearance of Glyph in her vehicle mode. Who knows? They're so off-modeled that it hurts. Well, what about you? What did you think of this episode of the original Transformers series? As always, let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you back here next time for the next episode of G1, The Autobot Run. So, I'll see you back here next week for that.